Yes, sir. Thanks. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will call the first meeting of June to order, June 3rd. Thank you all for coming, showing an interest in our city. Our first item is the consent agenda, which consists of regular meeting minutes of May 20th. That'd be pages 1 through 4. Everyone's had a chance to look over them, and no additions, corrections, deletions. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Carey, you made the motion. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Lowry. Discussion, any items? All in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed 5-0. All right, city engineer, Mr. Josh Baxley, he's got a handout for us. And see how we're moving along.
Small list for the update today. First item is the city government complex. I did speak with Jim and John yesterday. I think the architects has confirmed that the building footprint itself, there's no plan for it to change, so that can proceed us on with our design services. So we'll be able to move forward with the civil design services, which is good news. Monument Avenue, the striping has been completed there. Looks good. Road turned out really well. Downtown Utilities Phase 2. The contractor's currently working at night. They're doing the tie-ins at the alley between 98 and 3. And my understanding from my inspectors that is a slow process. So they're working at night, trying not to disturb, but I would expect that it would be a slow process, but that's what they're doing now, is making those service tie-ins. The other item is a change order. That's also part of the packet. This change order is something that we reviewed. There is a loop system that goes from Dockside Drive to Box Cell that runs behind all of the offices and down by the boat barn. And in reviewing this job, that was something that was never included in any of the designs, but it's something that needs to be done because it will also tie the pig back in, it'll tie McDonald's back in, and it'll tie that loop system that runs through their end. It's shown here, our original contract price. Our first change order was a deductive change order for $118,896.26. This is an increase of $16,800 for 5 tie-ins, which is a cheaper price than what we would have gotten as a unit price had it been part of the job, but we are still over $100,000 under our original contract price, even with this change order.
Very good.
So that's what this change order is for, but it's something that we have to do to tie that loop system in and tie the other businesses back in.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the change order. So moved. Commissioner Lowry made the motion. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Langston. Discussion among the board. Anybody in the public? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passed 5-0.
Next item is the HMGP grant elevation of 12 lift stations. We've responded to all the REI from FDM. I don't think we've received any go-ahead yet. Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, to be able to bid.
That's correct. We were told that the increase in the budget was approved over the course of 7 years. The price has gone up. So right now we have the contractor holding the price, but we need to get a contract from those folks what we're waiting on out of Tallahassee.
The last item, and it'll probably be the last time it's on there, the Avenue C and Battle Street intersection improvements are complete. And I don't know if everyone's looked at that job, but that turned out extremely well from where it was before.
Great. Yep. Anybody out there got any questions for Josh? Staff level? All right. Thanks, sir.
One quick, Josh, the speed table on 7th Street, correct? Yep, strike this week.
I hadn't heard any feedback on it. I don't know, it's complete.
Yeah, I drove over it yesterday just to test it out.
Did it slow you down?
I knew it was there, so I just creeped up on it, but I haven't got any input from anybody, positive or negative, so.
Got one from a neighbor, somebody who lives there. He was
Okay.
very, very excited.
Okay. All right, guy, okay,
Thank y'all.
thanks, sir. All right, city attorney.
Yes, Mayor, I have one thing on the agenda today, and that's resolution 2025-09. That deals with the request for an alley abandonment by David Warner. It deals with the alley that runs on Block 7 between 2nd and 3rd Streets, right behind the tap road, underneath where Half Hitch used to be, the Poke Bowl, all those buildings there.
Yes.
What's interesting about that is about 3/4 of the alleyway is covered by buildings that have been there for decades. So this is kind of straightening that up and helping him, because I believe Mr. Warner wants to expand Tap Road, put something on that.
Yes, I think he wants to, not expand, but put a roof over his outside area. He had a temporary roof, and I think some of the foundation is gonna be in the edge of that alley. So, anyway, everybody understand the, request, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Lowry made the motion, there's a second. Second by Commissioner Hopper. Any discussion on the board? Anybody in the public? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion passed 5-0.
That's all I had on the agenda, Mayor.
Do you need to read that one? Read the
No,
resolution?
I don't need to read it.
Okay, all righty. Okay, next item is old business under city projects. See that on page 7 and 8. We're staying pretty busy, of course. Somebody got any questions for city projects? All right, moving right on down to new business.
Yes, sir. The first item is we had a brief discussion and received a letter from the county in reference to the Windmark DRI. Commissioner Lowry, we want to talk to you briefly about it today.
Yeah, just real brief. I just want to ask the board, on this backbeat, you call it backbeat road.
Yeah.
Last meeting, but, I'd like to ask staff to write a letter to the Secretary of DOT, with your signature to let's move forward and ask them to put, that on their 5-year plan. And then, ask the county, send Mr. Novak here, to draft a letter as well, to send to the Secretary.
I think it's a really good idea. I think it's one of those things that right now, we don't see a requirement in the DRI, but I think it is a necessity coming in that we're going to need arterial roads. Our community is growing very, very fast. It's going to take an effort from our legislative staff, from the city, the county, maybe even Mexico Beach and some Bay County, because you see what Mexico Beach does. All those folks are coming to eat in our town. We have a thriving downtown community. We have a thriving community. With those, we got parking and we have traffic issues that are coming. So I think it's a very good idea.
We've also got I guess it's a preliminary plat, from, a developer that wants to put in, I believe, 500 units out in Overstreet. So, I mean,
That's correct.
That comes on. It's very well.
We need to plan now because this is not going to happen overnight. So we need to really start pushing and getting all the support we can to start looking at Gulf County and helping out with our road system.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to, send a letter to, FDOT requesting the, what do we call it? The Gulf to Bay Highway, beginning of it, I guess you would say, be put on their, 5-year paving plan.
So,
Okay, Commissioner Lowry made the motion, there's a second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Langston. discussion on the board? Public. Ladies first, sir, sorry. Hello.
Happy. I think it's a little premature at this point because, first of all, if y'all recall, it was supposed to be a Gulf to Bay highway. That was the original intent,
Yeah.
to get us out. Then it turned into a bay to bay, and the politics started. And the county changed their mind of supporting the best route. And so now here we are trying to create another road. And you talk about the 500 homes in Overstreet. Isn't that really in Bay County?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not Gulf County. That's Bay County,
But,
once again.
yeah.
So my thing is, where you talk about a supposed plat, citizens hadn't seen anything about that. We don't know what that road's gonna look like, where it's gonna go, what environmental impacts it's gonna have. So 5-year plan, fine. But again, you got a county contractor putting this before the board, a county contractor who is also trying to represent himself as a citizen of Port St. Joe. But if he's putting a motion on the board, I can talk about what the motion is and who he is. I can do that.
You got the 3 minutes on.
Yeah, and I still have 1:26 seconds left, and I think I will be able to finish up. So we got a conflict of interest. We didn't have the attorney on the agenda. We had the item on the agenda. And the citizens don't know how this road is gonna impact them. And you're gonna help a developer that lives in Mexico Beach. Congratulations for selling us down the river again.
Mr. Novak?
Afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you. Jeremy Novak, on behalf of Gulf County. I want to thank Commissioner Lowry for putting this on the agenda today. I had attended your last few meetings. I had presented a letter back on May 5th to this commission and presented it and read it into the record from the Chairman Quinn. And since then, I've come back and asked for some direction or some responses to Commissioner Quinn and the County Commissioner's questions with regards to DRI, 20 years and counting. I actually had an opportunity when I left the last meeting, I listened to the City Commission's comments at the end of the last meeting. I think from the mayor and some of the commissioners, there was a question as to what exactly the county was asking for.
Correct.
So I watched that, and what I tried to do today was just to attempt to try to answer or clarify that May 5th letter, and then my attendance at the meeting since then. So I had a letter, I'll just give this to maybe Charlotte, and it's to the city and to the commissioners. But I'm just going to summarize it real quick, just to answer the mayor and the commissioners' questions from that May 5th letter. The county commission really, and I appreciate the vote that's on the floor. And just to boil it down, it was really just an acknowledgement from the city that the lawful ordinance of 380, which is the city ordinance for the DRI that you adopted. The second request was that the city respond to the county's request that they are in fact monitoring the residential permits being issued and constructed within the DRI. The third request was that the city would adhere and comply with its ordinance, and obviously the issuance of further permits past the established threshold that we put in that May 5th letter. And its ordinance that are met for phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3. So we've had the ordinances from both the city and the county. I have them. I know Clint has them. I know that the city has them. They actually mirror one another. They speak to that there shall be no further permits being issued until the city, the county, and the DOT get together, have this methodology and this study done, and then ultimately the DOT is the final arbiter on that traffic study. So I appreciate the motion and the support of the commission, which I hope that everyone votes for today. And then ultimately it was that the city would cooperate, participate, and assist the county and continued its efforts to secure the DOT's participation, leadership, planning, and funding of these additional phases. So it sounds as though we're headed in that direction. I thank the city commissioners for that. I submitted a letter today to you all. I provided to Ms. Charlotte, and I thank you again for that support and that pending motion.
Thank you, sir. All right, the motion we're voting on is to send the letter and our support to FDOT. I just want to make sure we're clear on that. Come up, Mr. Branch.
Good morning, Robert Branch. Fort St. Joe, I took a few notes and, actually I was at the last meeting as well as the county lawyer here and y'all and so my first question to y'all, do y'all all understand as a board what DRI means? Could y'all explain that to me real quick?
You can't explain it real quick, but
But you're-
development of regional impact. is what
Okay,
that
so
is.
develop region, so that's all due to the Windmark annexation that happened in 2005 when this interlocal agreement was signed by the city and the county, right?
Yeah.
And actually, with me saying that, and I'm trying to make sense out of it, everybody won't be looking in left field and actually the ball was going in right field. And I'm just gonna make sense. And so I'm taking some notes. Mr. Lowry actually said the traffic is not going to go away. We've seen that this weekend. That was him saying that last week. That's his words. So, Mr. Lowry, what traffic are you talking about in that area? It's not gonna go away.
Or visitor traffic.
Visitor traffic coming through there. So the reason I say that, I drive through there a lot, you know, going back to time like everybody else does. It's not the problem that Windmark has created it's the problem that the county wide has created from people coming, like Ms. McAvoy said. So the boondoggle here is, you know, we need to look at the big picture. So now it's all to do with the development of Gulf County, Fort St. Joe, coming into Fort St. Joe. We can agree to that, right?
And Bay County.
And Bay County. And now, okay, with me saying that, so here's the interlocal agreement, the same agreement that the county lawyer's talking about. Everything has been satisfied. And that's the reason I asked about the DRI. Make sure I know what's on. Everything has been satisfied. I see the look on your face, but one thing, you already know what I'm gonna say. The same thing that the lawyer misquoted last meeting. He actually brought up item number 7 of the interlocal agreement. And y'all all know what that is. All the traffic coming in, the growth of St. Joe, growth of Gulf County. What did St. Joe give y'all, this board, 20 years ago for the growth? The 60 acres out there that's still sitting. So y'all need to live up to y'all's agreement, just like the county. I said it before. I hate to use strong arming y'all. Y'all need to get y'all fair share. And I'm on my last 3 minutes. I'll elaborate more. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else in the public? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion passed 5-0. And, we can, talk about the request from the county and, respond appropriately, to that when, they get ready to do that in writing. Each item that the, okay.
I've got one question. I don't know if y'all took the time to read the letter from the county that went to the commissioners in the question about the agreement. And I know that County Attorney Mr. Novak mentioned in our last meeting, referenced that agreement, but I would like to get the opportunity to at least make sure that it, once again, is put into the record. And if I misspeak, Jim, please correct me. But the letter from the county that came to myself and the other commissioner, and I'm going to summarize, was pretty much saying there's the 3 parties involved with the development of Windmark, the county, the city, and St. Joe Corporation. And the county was making an argument in this letter that the county, based on the interlocal agreement, held the control of future growth in Windmark. And there was a response from the St. Joe company, which is perplexing in my mind to hear them say what they said to the county. But they said, then this letter from St. Joe company was May the 9th, 2025, directed by Pat. And towards the back, it says the prevailing Fort St. Joe DRDO ordinance doesn't reserve any rights for Gulf County to retain control or responsibility for the DRI. Item 2, under findings of fact, in ordinance 416 states the city commission is the governing body with legal jurisdiction over the city DRI property. Item 14 states the city shall be responsible for monitoring the developer's compliance with this development order. And the fact that that's from the St. Joe Corporation addressed to the county and CC to the city, I think that because we're discussing the whole picture here, we need to bring that up, make sure that's part of the record today.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor, I think that's good response to Commissioner Hoffman. I appreciate that. I think that was well said. And I would say this, I read the St. Joe letter, and obviously going back over 25 years, I think none of us were actually in the positions we were at the time when this was all adopted. And I just go to an overarching issue of just common sense. And I appreciate Commissioner Hoffman's comments. Common sense to answer Mr. Brandon's question earlier about what a DRI is. The DRI in simple terms is we're going to let 1,552 home sites come into our community, the county and city collectively. And in order to do that, we need to put controls in the future on how we're going to handle that growth of this community. And one of those things, obviously we had a recession at the end of 7 and 8. We hit a 10-year lull, and now it's back, and they're building homes and they're going up quickly. And we're approaching that 50% threshold. And under that common sense approach between the county and the city, all of us collectively need to come back to the table and use that master agreement, which was how are we going to handle the growth when we add 1,500+ home sites and families to this community. And the DRI spoke specifically to that. The DRI agreement was one piece of the puzzle. And I agree with you, Commissioner. There's 3 parties. There's a 4th party, which is the DOT. So there's a developer, there's a city, there's a county, and there's a DOT. All those bodies still exist. Under our ordinances from 20+ years ago, there was also the ARPC and the FDCA. DCA doesn't exist anymore, right? So there's parties that don't even exist on the state level, but the DOT does. And I won't read the county ordinance, I'll read the city ordinance because they mirror one another. To your point about the St. Joe letter, it says after an agreement, but it ultimately says that the meeting of the FDOT, the ARPC, the DCA, and for your ordinance, it says the city for the purpose of agreeing on a methodology for reanalyzing project impacts for phase 2. Taking the argument of whether it's the county or city roads, Commissioner, and we take both ordinances, because the only difference between those 2 ordinances is in your ordinance, it says the city shall be at the table, and the county ordinance says the county should be at the table. So regardless of who controls that, the final arbiter is the DOT. There needs to be a meeting brought together by those 4 bodies, now only 3 of them exist. So the city, the county, the developer, and the DOT should be at the table, discuss the growth over the last 20 years. The DOT then is the final arbiter and should come up with a study, and it has to be accepted by them. If it is not, then obviously there's provisions under 8B that we all go back to. But it states verbatim in both ordinances that there shall be no permits issued until this is resolved. So this is not an argument between the county and city. We want your cooperation. We want you to send the letters. We want to sit at the table with you. We want to have the developer and all of us sit with the DOT and say, when is the meeting going to be held? Where are the studies? Let's all analyze them and come to an agreement on how we're going to better the community and the county and the city going forward with 1,500 new home sites before we hit the 50% threshold. For us all to bury our head now would do a disservice to the entire community. For us to address the issue, the ordinance specifically speaks 20+ years ago about a 3-year plan and a 5-year capital funding program. It's incumbent upon the city and the county commissioners to get with the DOT, have the developer at the table. And last month, you said that this was the county trying to get the developer to do it. And I would respectfully say, Commissioner, that's not the case. What we want is your help and the developer's help to get the DOT, who serve all of us, to help us with this road on phase 2 and phase 3.
That's what we ought to do.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate that clarification, sir.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like about 5 seconds just to say, you let him come up off the agenda. Could I have about 5 seconds and I'll be brief? And just to clear up what Mr. Hoffman said, I want to make sure that I know we're on the record. Could I have 5 seconds?
Come ahead.
With all due respect to what y'all said, I appreciate the comments and what the Gulf County lawyer said. And I want to make sure I'm clear, he keeps mentioning 1,500 more homes. And then we're gonna be, I'm not gonna say crowded, but are we already at that, you know, at the last meeting it was brought up, well, we at the threshold where there's 100 more new homes coming in. So is it 100 homes we're talking, or 1,500?
Jim,
Yes, sir.
you want to respond to
The
that?
total development under the DRI is for 1,662 homes.
So
That's total build
How
out,
many is there now?
roughly around 700 now.
Okay, so we're like halfway through.
With the last one they approved the other day on there, that gets you roughly to 700 being built.
So me saying that, a new highway is gonna solve all the problems. Is that what we're thinking now? Or is that what everybody's thinking, or we're gonna figure that out later on? Because if you go through Windmark right now, I'm just stating facts. Y'all take a drive out of any time during the day, you don't see anybody coming out of Windmark, none of that. But now, even if you double that, what are you gonna see? It's not Windmark, the creation that's caused
Well,
that.
I
I just for the record, I appreciate it, thank you.
Okay, all right, moving right along, next item.
Yes, sir, Mayor. The next item, for your approval is an R&B festival request for Mr. Terrence Chambers. This is the same gentleman that put the event together last year. He's asking for basically the same thing for this year. Reason being is before you, because it does extend beyond 12 o'clock. Our ordinance in their rules of 12 o'clock in the morning. They want to go 2 o'clock.
So basically, they want a variance on the time,
Yes, sir.
and that's it.
To get a special event permit.
And all the other boxes will be checked.
Yes.
They're already checked.
Yes, sir. It's there for your consideration there. They gave a complete application to you.
Well, I think the festival turned out pretty good last year, the dance or somewhat. Don't believe there were any issues. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the request. Commissioner Langston made the motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Carey. Discussion from the board. Anyone from the public?
You got the guy, Terrence, you wanna come up and say something? Got
Nothing that's
And
really.
just state your name, and you'll need to sign in too.
That's
Yeah,
right,
good, thank you.
Yes, sir. Terrence Chambers. I mean, I can help any questions, if there's any questions need to be answered, but.
Stay silent when you're winning. That's what Judge Judy always tells us. You're a smart man.
Good. Any discussion from the public? All in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign, motion passed 5-0. Good luck. Hope that turned out good as last year. All righty. Anything else, Jim?
No, sir.
All right, public works.
Yes, sir. Mayor, thank you. I've got, for Commissioner's request, there's a couple, quotes in here from, contractor for, two different things. Shoulder work on Garrison, which needs to be considered, as well as stormwater private right. So we'll go with the shoulder work first.
All right.
Roberts and Roberts, it should be on this 21. In order to stabilize and take care of the edge of pavement that we have from basically Madison to the college, this was the quote provided to us, from them to do that way. So it's here for your consideration if it's something the board would like to move forward with.
Yeah, I've been working with John on this for a little while. That lip off that road, I mean, some places it's almost 10 inches. When you come around, the curve there, mainly the curve.
At college.
Yeah. And I mean, it's very dangerous. Needs to be fixed, but, I don't know if we have the money in the budget to do it this year. I mean, Jim, if you want to look at it, Mike, we can, bring it up maybe at the next meeting.
Is it, does it need it really all the way to Madison? Could we get the really bad area and cut this price down and maybe afford to do it this year?
You probably could. What you think, John?
Well, I mean, to the mayor's question, this was considering, the worst areas. This wasn't all the way down.
Okay.
This did consider exactly what you just stated, Mayor.
Oh, red,
That's correct.
I got you. Okay.
It's just some of the drop offs are pretty significant.
Well, it needs to be done and save action. It'd be great if we can find the money somewhere to do it.
Is that newly paved project?
No, not that section here.
Have y'all seen it? Anybody been down there and seen it?
It's going to be good.
Yeah, we have the funding available for 28,000.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Don't need to move it off. Next meeting. I'll entertain a motion. Do the work.
So moved.
Made a motion, there's a second. Second by Commissioner Hoffman. Discussion from the board, any more from the public? Jim?
I would just indicate that it's a change order. You currently have Roberts under construction for Monument Avenue. Because it is $28,000, you can do it as a change order under that current project under its conditions.
Okay. All right. All in favor, aye? Opposed, same sign, motion passed 5-0.
Mayor, the second quote that you have for your review is, 20th Street. I think last commission meeting, Commissioner Lawson mentioned it.
Yeah.
Well, I met with the contractor on site, and the best way to do this is to evaluate the entire system. We know there's certainly an issue under Cypress, and that needs to be addressed. But I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to assess the entire pipeline, given it serves from, what would that be, 20th Street and along, Juniper back to Cypress all the way to the pond. So that's what you have in this quote.
And that's doing the cameras?
This is gonna be the evaluation phase, yes, or correct. And we really, unless we just do a blind dig on Cypress, it's best to evaluate the system first.
Would that go all the way back to the end of 20th Street where the depot?
No, so this would just cover, as the map indicates, from, right there at the beginning of Cypress up to Buck Griffin Lake.
Okay, so from Buck Griffin
From the beginning of this
towards
collection
the back
system.
to the west.
That's correct. From the beginning of this collection system to the east.
Well, I think that'll help us because we've already discussed the problem that one day we're gonna have to tackle, and that's those two massive pipes going to Buck Griffin.
That's correct. Definitely.
That's the problem. So that's a good start.
But what this is right there at Forest Park, close to it.
That's correct. It'll be from Forest Park to Cypress. Yeah, be on Cypress, yes, sir. That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, once again, we've got the money to do it. And anybody's budget?
Yes, sir, we have money in general paving available for 12,000.
Okay, all right, I'll entertain a motion to go forward with it.
So moved.
Mr. Hoffman made the motion, there's a second. Second by Mr. Lowry. Any discussion from the board, anybody in the public want to talk about it? All in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign, motion passed 5-0.
Mayor, the last item I have is, again, we were approached from a developer on 386 about a month or so ago, who is wanting us, to look at the possibility of serving this development with our utilities, of water and sewer. In an effort to do that, we're gonna need to do some preliminary engineering, and see that task order from Anchor, CEI out of Panama City for that work.
Right.
If it's the board's wishes to move forward to have them begin looking at that. And it's more geared from the sewer perspective versus water. I think water is the relatively easy portion of this.
Yeah.
The sewer is gonna be the more complicated piece.
Water runs all the way to Over
It
Street,
does.
so.
It does. So the sewer, this would give us an idea of what, they're gonna have to do, what we would be looking at and get us well on that track if the board was there to do that.
Jim, you want to talk about the developer request, so forth?
Yes, sir. It is preliminary at this point in time. It is in unincorporated Bay County. But before you, if you look over to page 23 through 28, it does give you a preliminary plan as to what the subdivision would look like there. So it is a very large development. We're in very early stages here, but all indications are they're going to move forward with the development order from unincorporated Bay County and ask the city of Port St. Joe about the utility.
Do they want to annex into the city?
I think it's a little too far.
If no, that's good.
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for us. I mean, it's just about a no-brainer. We've got facilities and they want it, they contacted Jim numerous times, sound like they're really gung-ho to get this started. And the only way we're gonna know if it's gonna help us is to do this task order to study our system.
Now, this
That way we've got an answer for them if they come to us and say yes or no.
it will provide the base engineering if we move forward, you know, to the next phase.
That's, yeah, yeah, I think it's, it'll be doable. And, fairly reasonable, really. Everybody know what we're talking about, see what's happening. I'll entertain a motion to, approve the task order number 1680.009. Mr. Blankster made the motion, to have a second. Second by Commissioner Hopper. Discussion from the board, from the public. Please come forward.
I'll briefly look at it. I'm all for development, don't get me wrong. So who's paying for this?
Paying for
This, task order?
the city's paying.
So how much is that?
Excuse me?
How much?
$6,500.
65. Why? It's just strange. Why wouldn't the developer, being such a big, why wouldn't the developer take on that cost? Did the developer ever take on that cost, or? Why wouldn't the developer pay, if he wanted to get that done, why would he, cut the 65? Because we're still looking for money, Mr. Mayor, you know, you said it a minute ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you add 6,500 to 28,000, 19,000 here every week, then you're up to, you're gonna be at $1 million for long. So why would this developer, I'm sure he got plenty of money, why don't he cut the $6,500 check?
We'll make it back.
Well, but what I'm saying, and don't, not to be harsh, but y'all fix to vote on this?
Yes, sir.
So think about that before you do. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
So it's a good day for Bubba Hardman. He's gonna get, services, he's gonna get $6,500, and he's also gonna get a road. Gosh, and he lives in Mexico Beach.
Who are you talking about?
Isn't this, I've got the paperwork right here.
Yeah.
Isn't this Mr. Hardman that's asking for?
They sold the property, I believe.
Yeah, he
Okay.
sold the property to.
Okay, because his name is on this too, on this.
I think
one.
they call that, that's what the original name of that particular land
Okay,
area was.
well, it has his name.
Harmon property.
Yeah.
Bubba Harmon.
Yeah, so his name is up at the top. Now, my question is, I mean, we heard from our ex-wastewater gentleman that's now retired, and I'm sorry to see him go, not that I'm not glad to see you, but that we're already going to have issues as it pertains to sewer. We're already going through a situation with DEP, trying to figure out some of this stuff. So, that's fine. We've got pipes all the way to Overstreet. And as I recall, Charlie Weston, when he was the city manager, talked about servicing water to Mexico Beach. So that could be a good thing. But as far as the sewer goes, I'd like to know how you all are going to handle that, because we're already in a situation of being overburdened. And it's not fixed yet.
And that's the purpose of this task order.
The purpose of this task order is so that this development can utilize some of
See
our.
if we'll be able to handle it.
Exactly, but we're not doing what we need to do with our existing customers now. And that's why you're going through all this planning with DEP to try to rectify what we've got going on with the lagoon and all of that. So I think, once again, that's fine. They want to develop property, I think that's great. But when they're asking us to service them, when they are in Bay County, why aren't they asking Bay County? Why aren't
And
they
they
asking?
might,
Bay-
I don't know.
I don't think that they are.
Yeah.
So again, just looking at what our infrastructure currently is, what we have going on right now with DEP, and can we take on any more? And you're voting on something to say, yes, we can, or we think we can, and we're gonna pay for the evaluation to see if that's proper. I think this developer needs to pay their own $6,500 because that's the American way.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, all in favor, aye? Opposed, same sign, motion passed, 5-0. All righty. Anything else?
No, sir, no questions.
Surface water, Mr. Larry?
Mayor, unless there's questions for me, I don't have anything to do.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Joe?
Thank you, Mayor. Today we have two items on the agenda. The first one is a task order. We're looking for your approval to move forward with the sand filtration design with Baskerville Donovan. This is not the first time we've talked about filtration, but this is the first step we need to take in order to move in the right direction as far as getting this improvement done.
This is part of the things that we need to check off our box with DEP to comply with that consent order, correct?
It's not on the consent order, but it is a piece of the puzzle that will get us towards completion, yes, sir.
Gotcha, I got you. All right, it's, they're under contract, with us now, Jim, for all that work, the, evaluation out there. Okay. All right, quite a lot of money. It's under our, budgeted item, I do believe. It's in the budget. It's a lot of money, but it's gonna be necessary to comply with DEP. So, everybody understand what we're doing here? All right, I'll entertain a motion for the, task order for a sand filter design for Baskerville Donovan. It's in the amount of $241,122. All right, there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hoffman, motion by Commissioner Lowry. Discussion from the board, any discussion? All in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign, motion passed, 5-0. Next item, Joe.
Thank you very much. The next item is a task order for our filter feed pumps. Right now, they're limiting our ability to totally pump out the lagoon, which is our main goal right now. We've asked them to help us with some more pump design, engineering, and technical specification work on that as well, so we can get that water level as low as possible.
My understanding, Joe, is that we can't really utilize our complete, spray fields because of this issue.
Both of these play a factor into that, that's correct.
Okay, and once again, this part of the, consent order, situation. An amount of $113, $113,877. Everybody understand what we've got going on? Entertain a motion to approve. Commissioner Langston made the motion, there's a second. Second by Commissioner Kerrigan. Any further discussion from the board? Anybody in the public? All in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign, motion passed, 5-0.
Thank you very much. Unless y'all have any questions, that's all I have for today.
That's enough, Joe.
That's it for today, yes, sir.
$100. Jeez. DEP's about to break us. All right,
Mayor, we did receive a request for additional information from FEMA, which I've partially responded to, but I haven't completely. So they are working on reimbursement.
yeah, the, Representative Schultz's office is on top of it. I got a call from them 3 days ago, I guess, 4 days. That they have talked to them, and they said just what you're saying. So if it's in our court,
It is.
and actually, these people are handling this, money. Talk to, Representative Shelf's office. And so, they've lit a fire under them, so we need to.
Yeah, and a lot of their questions are related not to the $900,000. It's the other work that we did previously, the paving, the repair of the bathrooms, the labor that the city did for that work. So they're asking questions about that.
Summation.
That's,
Okay,
so I'll respond.
okay, thank you. Okay, what else, Mike?
That's all I have unless anyone has any questions.
Reimbursements coming in, okay, Mike?
Well, we hit a snag on the CDBG-DR, the large project, that we've had turnover in our consultants that we deal with. We've had 4 different leads that we deal with, and then we've gotten a new lead, and that lead said that we hadn't met the threshold for reimbursement, which we argued, we've already reimbursed this $800,000 on the project. So our consultant and I are working with them to rewrite the language so that we can fix that problem. So we do have a $260,000 reimbursement that's sitting on hold right now, but we're working with the consultant. We have a meeting this week to rewrite the language to fix that problem. So we do have a problem with that particular grant reimbursement.
Okay.
You know, anytime you deal with these large organizations, you get one person that does it one way and you get somebody new and they do it the other way.
I like insurance.
You know, so it's been difficult if we've gone through 4 leads on the project. So, we'll work through the issue and we'll get that rolling.
Thank you, Mike. Y'all got any questions for Mike? That's working. All right, thanks, sir. Code enforcement.
Yes, sir. We're in the process now of trying to hire additional code enforcement officer. We have one that's taking another job full-time. You know, we had part-time before, so, you know, people send it to let us know, so we're in that process there. Also in the thresholds of, grass season, so we have a lot of grass issues in there. Yes.
Yeah. I'm saying that.
Mayor, let me circle back. I would like to mention that the Stack House is open. Summer program is up and running, and yesterday was the first day, so the Stack House is open for 8 to 12 for kids from kindergarten to 5th grade, and from 1 to 5 for students from 6 and above.
Good. Everything staff level, okay?
Everything's good, yes, sir.
Good. Good deal. Okay, police, Mr. Rusty is subbing for Jake today.
We don't have anything, y'all got any questions?
Okay.
We going to go back tomorrow.
Memorial Day, pretty quiet. Did it work pretty good?
Everything's very well.
Okay. All right. It's just getting started.
Yeah.
Ms. Pierce, city clerk.
We continue to work on grant reimbursement, filling out forms, providing information. Also want to remind you that qualifying for those of you running this year is next, will be Monday, June the 9th through June the 13th. On a Friday, you qualify from noon to noon. Supervisor for election is handling everything for us again. And also, if you have not completed your Form 1, remember that it is due by July 1. It has to be filed electronically. And please take care of that so you avoid a fine. That's all I have. If someone has questions.
Citizens be heard.
I'm gonna kind of switch gears a little bit before we start the clock. Hold on, please.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of other copies too that I'm just wondering if during Memorial Day, you're gonna put these crew out as welcome to Port St. Joe. My understanding, I don't know a lot about guns, but those are MP5s. Very expensive, very fast, can put off a round just like that. I don't think it was appropriate for Lori Fowler, one of your police officers, to post this. I don't think it gives a good message about Port St. Joe as a tourist town. You have in this picture, Jamie Nichols and Dalton Breimer, and Lori Fowler in their police uniforms in front of the police department with these high-powered weapons. Does that say, welcome to Port St. Joe, Mayor? No, it doesn't. I don't care if it's her personal page. She's wearing, and they're wearing, a police uniform. This isn't the first time we've seen this kind of junk on Facebook. But if we're gonna be a tourist town, and the chief is gonna sit over there and say, well, we've got problems, but I don't bring anything up because we're a tourist town, and you got these three stooges posting this for everyone to see.
They're not stooges, first of all.
Yeah, they're
They're not gonna
stooges.
come up here
Hey,
and
listen,
I'll make it personal.
whatever I'm gonna say,
They're not stooges.
they are stooges.
Okay.
If you look at that discovery tape, they are stooges.
I'll say they're not. Well, there we go.
And you are stooge too.
Yeah.
I will say this, all of us know up here, and Jim and our staff, we talk to our employees, and caution them to, social media can get you in a lot of trouble. So we try to, reiterate that, Jim, if you will. Social media can get you in a lot of trouble. So just, keep that in mind. And her comments were not appropriate to this body and staff. But anyway, okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Jeremy Novak, Port St. Joe, Palmetto Bluff, they're not stooges. I agree with you, Commissioner. And I thank Ms. Fowler and the other two officers for all their service to the city, and proud of the way they present themselves throughout the community, and Jay Kambrowski as well. Jeremy Novak, Gulf County Attorney. Two issues, your favorite topic, Commissioners, annexation. First one I mentioned last meeting I came to, I received a letter. While I came here, I hadn't had a chance to read it, so I have since read that. So I wanted to present you with the letter, and to Clint. It's just, please accept this letter as confirmation of the receipt of Gulf County Board of County Commissioners regarding your proposed voluntary annexation of 04571. I think you have a notice for July and August. So pursuant to the binding interlocal agreement, the county simply respectfully requests notification of any and all further activity prior to your scheduled public hearings for this annexation. So I'll give this letter to Jim and to Clint, confirming that we received that. Thank you, Mayor. Along those lines as well, I was actually pleased to receive that letter and read it. And the reason being, in part, is because it acknowledged, obviously, the city is going to follow the proper steps in July and August for this new voluntary annexation. So I'm greatly appreciative of that. To that end, I have a second letter I'm going to present to Jim, to the city, to address to the mayor. We had a productive first appearance before Judge Collier with Clint and myself and the property owner. We're moving the matter forward with regards to ordinance 616. With receiving that notice for your July meetings, the other reason I was actually pleasantly surprised, not only are you following the interlocal, but the state statute on this new one, but it also presented the city commissioners with a perfect opportunity and a vehicle in which to remedy the old issue. And so the attorneys here, I'm here, the city and the county, there's two overarching issues that go back to why we're in court right now. under ordinance 616. There's one which is regarding the voluntary annexation and the creation of an enclave, and that's an issue that the court's going to resolve. That's one of 9 issues. There's 8 other issues that are tangential
I
but germane
don't
to it.
see why we're discussing this here. This isn't the forum for
That's
it.
fine.
Actually, I thought that you two.
We're
That's fine.
handling
Mr. Mayor,
this.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read, on behalf of the county, I'm gonna read a letter into the record, sir. The
Okay.
county has received the additional notice of the city's proposed voluntary annexation for parcel 4571. In light of the proper, timely, and compliant notice received by the county, consistent with the binding interlocal agreement, as well as the multiple deficiencies in the due process from the first notice annexation issued on January 23rd, this year has resulted in current litigation. The county implores and respectfully requests the city conduct proper hearings for both consistent with Florida law, policy, and the interlocal agreement, and renotice and conduct proper hearings for ordinance 616. The rescission of the improper adoption of 616 will enable the parties currently engaged in multiple legal actions to remove the issues from the court system and enable the city of Port St. Joe to notice and conduct lawful hearings in consideration of your ordinance 616. Lastly, the Board of County Commissioners once again strongly encouraged and will continue to promote an open dialogue regarding both voluntary annexations under the statute. The dialogue and discussions on both matters will continue to be severely hindered and delayed by further court action and litigation on the first, which we're currently in court, and possibly the second annexation issue. Again, Mayor, respectfully, Commissioners, I implore you all to simply step back, use July and August hearings not only to hear your first, but to properly hear your other 616, and that would enable the county to remove 8 of the 9 counts against the county. Thank you, sir.
For the record,
For the record, what were you saying?
he's indicated that we didn't properly do numerous things. I'm putting for the record that we did.
Okay, all right, good. Yes, sir, Mr. Chester.
Chester Davis, please, I was at the bank, a couple weeks back, and Commissioner, Hopper brought up something that we just did not understand. Some ladies asked me why we're not having certain programs, followed up at the gym. I didn't have no answer for them. Then I heard Commissioner said the DuPont cut the funds. Do we know exactly why they cut the funds? Because, I mean, I'm lost in that also, because people asking why we're not able to bring kids back to the gym again. And then I hear that the DuPonts are cutting funds. Do we know exactly why or what the funds?
They would have to ask DuPont.
Yeah, they didn't indicate to me why. I indicated that we weren't happy about it, but,
I think Ms. Kim Bodine have the answer, than that, you know. Them, individually, and, they know. So better to ask Ms. Kim Bodine about that.
Well, the reason I brought it, because somebody asked me, I had no answer for them, other than the fact that they said,
Yeah.
you know, as part of what we're doing, we should have an answer for them. I told them, that's actually, you
yeah,
know,
we
proper authority. If they cut funds, I thought maybe they told somebody, maybe why.
they haven't told me.
Chester, I actually spoke with them yesterday, with them on the city and stuff, and sometimes, you know, as we sit in here, we hear banter back and forth, and I know before when we discussed that program, there was some, I believe Scott had said there was a lot of people that complained, and so I asked that question to one of the directors, and I said, is that the reason why y'all cut funding? And she goes, no, not at all. She said that with all types of philanthropy and stuff that do these different things, sometimes they come up with new vision and missions of what they're trying to achieve. And I think they've outlined something now, and Kim's probably fully aware of where they're seeing they can make their biggest impact in this area. And from what I got out of it, they're trying to look a lot at affordable workforce housing and how they can tie into that, those kind of aspects and things like that, that they see, you know, as what they see as most important.
Right, well, we've been talking to them too much.
Community development.
Yeah,
Correct.
recovery and
And we were in the same conversation that the school project never did, or the recreation never did come up as to why. And then maybe something that we can do to, you know, encourage them or something like that. We'd like to do that.
Thank you.
Richard Emerson. Just a quick question about the program that was cut. Is there any way that, as you guys go into the next budget cycle, that money could be, come out of general fund some way?
Well, the program wasn't cut. They cut the fund.
I understand.
Yeah, when we stepped in and paid for it.
So it's covered now, so the program didn't go away then, right?
No, the kids are being at the gym, I would think, today.
City and the county stepped up to the plate to make up.
Oh, so it's already done then?
Yeah.
It's already done. Yeah, that was 6 meetings ago.
Oh. Thank you.
Marvin David, 320B. I just got a question. Someone asked me to present this here, Linda Buller, who was here earlier today. A while back, we asked about some speed bumps on Avenue A to cut down that traffic on Avenue A, recall? Also, Avenue D, okay? And another brought to my attention, and I remember driving by the other day, that over here on, I think, 6th Street, and maybe another street over here on this side of town, there's some speed tables. Is that correct?
There's one on 7th Street.
That was our experimental.
That's the first one.
Says that, okay, that's that experiment.
Yeah.
Okay, so based on this experiment, the outcome of this experiment, we will look at in the future, considering Avenue A.
I personally would like.
I think, rather, finish this experiment to make sure that actually we really take that, I did. make
Yep.
that.
Yeah, done.
Good. Appreciate it.
Good evening again, Robert Branch, listen to the conversation with Ms. McElroy. I want to clear one thing up. The name calling Stooges, and they were actually Stooges on October 29th of last year. I'm gonna, today what they're doing, on that, and Mr. Mayor,
That's your opinion.
that's my opinion.
That's
That's okay, so let that be known, and you remember, you cut me off at this podium 2 weeks ago when I held this picture up right here. Okay, so now I'm gonna elaborate a little bit, and then we'll go further on down the road. This is actual Sergeant Nichols, the same one holding the MP5. I don't know if it's fully automatic or not, don't care. But this is actually him talking to Gulf County employee Reuben Joe Price, like the Public Works, that y'all let come into 10th Street and just take over. This is actually him telling a false statement right here. This is a still shot of the video. As regards to that, and this is no secret, this is him giving a false statement. And I'm gonna say this, he told 4 lies in about 10 seconds right here. And this will come up later, there's no secret. And actually, I'm not even gonna talk about the first replete report. There was 2 I talked about. I'm gonna set that down for now. So actually, they were stooges that day, because I'll tell you why. Anytime this board lets the county, and I won't call the county out, come into a city project on an unpermitted work site and post it for trespassing, and what y'all need to do is go back and look at the original posting the police department put out on their page. And y'all need to look at the head and what that property was posted for. And then look how it was completely twisted around. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to these stooges that day before they arrested her. When the body cams come on, y'all remember, how long did it take? Only 20 seconds for them to get there. One was under the water tower, one was at the dog pound, and the other one holding the MP5 was down middle way. She got lost somehow. So she was a stooge that day, but the other 2 showed up. It took them 2 minutes to arrest her. She never was detained. But as Mr. Hoffman said, last 30 years experience as a law enforcement officer, you need to detain somebody and get everything worked out before you put the cuffs on them and throw them in the car.
That's not what I said. That's not what I
You
said.
know what you did say?
I said you can't physically arrest someone without detaining them.
You're right.
That's what was said.
You're right. You did say that.
So don't make up something else
Okay,
that I didn't say.
you did say that, okay. And then I come back and said, but she was that day. So,
You said.
so that's what I said. So we got that straight. I appreciate your time.
Anybody else from the public? Mr. Hoffman, you're first on the list today.
I've got one question. Are we still working on the surplus list?
Yes, we need to work on the surplus.
Yeah, I get that. So we're going to make sense. Yeah, I'll go ahead and take the moment to, explain to what the, actual definition of a stooge is. Because, first of all, let me say, I actually was in agreement with the idea. It's probably not the greatest idea to put work, any type of work relation, photos of work on social media. I'll remind everyone, I work for the largest police union in the state of Florida. And we have a lot of attorneys that spend a lot of time and money defending our membership for posts on social media. So I try my best to speak to law enforcement throughout the state of Florida and encourage them to have a separate account if you want to have a work account. But so with that said, just to be honest, we go back to stooges. The reason that I said they're not stooges is because I use the English language and I try to, use it effectively. A stooge is a person who serves merely to support or assist us or others, particularly in doing unpleasant work. So that doesn't make any sense. A performer whose act involves being the butt of a comedian's jokes, that makes no sense whatsoever. So I just say, and I want to put on the record, take the time to learn the English language and use it properly, because that definition does not characterize the label that was placed on our police officers.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Good. You good?
Good.
I got a couple of things. All right. John.
Washington Gym, where we, had the sinkhole. Could we get that paid?
Sure.
Kendall Bank, when you drive through, coming out, there's a, pothole on that right-hand side that's real bad. I got a call for that. That's it. That's all.
Yes, we're gonna take care of it. All right, my turn. I think all of you got the, well, some of the public probably doesn't know this, but during, family have bought the, Baptist church property. And, plan to develop it, of course. They, also own a piece of property on the highway, along with the old, HRS building. And it goes from, 3rd Street to 2nd Street. He made an offer to sell it to us for public parking. We've all, I think, hopefully seen that offer. And the reason I bring it up is we're all together and we can talk about it. And so it's, he wants to sell it to us for $2 million and finance it interest-free for 2 years. So we can maybe find a grant or something to pay for it. I have other ideas about how we pay for it. Also, we, number one, have to get it appraised. We can't go by his offer. We'd have a lot of egg on our face if we went ahead with something like this. So I would like to put it on the agenda for next meeting that we maybe make a move at least to have a property appraised to see if it's a fair offer for us. We all know we need the parking. Terribly bad. There are parking apps all over the United States now. that we could use that area for a test site and actually, generate some income to help pay for property, without putting parking meters, just using your telephone. Most people that have phones now that travel know how that works. But we need property, it's prime property. So I think we need to continue to talk about it, throw out ideas, and see if we can make something happen right there.
Yeah, I think that's a good start.
So,
I mean, it's a critical need that we have here. It's gonna, we already have the need now, and it's gonna exponentially grow. We all know, with such a footprint, and we need to secure as much parking and green space as we can. I know that he had put a market value on it, I think at 4 million, he said he would sell it to us for 2 million. Say we get it appraised and see where the cards fall, and if it comes back at appraisal of 3, then maybe we'll look at it at 25, but that half price.
there you go.
How much was that offer a few years back when we considered buying that parking lot of built
$400,000.
400,000? Because I think, you could use that and they ended up selling it. So
They sold part, well, they sold all of them. They hardly bought 2 lots.
yeah.
And I don't know who owns it.
So you kind of
They're
compare that.
developers in Georgia. And I do have no, they were going to develop it, and I spoke to, someone who knows them, and they are probably not going to develop that now. And if we want to reach out to them to talk about parking for that section.
We could use both. But everything's not free anymore. And I think most people know that. Any more comments on that? Okay, we'll stand adjourned.